Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you greetings from Varanasi, India, the holy city, the city of Lord of Shiva. Plate osteosynthesis is associated with exposure of the fracture site, increased blood loss, increased risk of radial nerve palsy, disruption of periosteal blood flow. So, can closed interlocking intramedullary nailing avoid these problems which are associated with the plating? So, with these questions in mind, we did our comparative study, because controversies exist as outstanding result in some studies and unfavorable outcome in others with both the methods. So, the primary problem with antegrade interlocking nailing is shoulder pain and dysfunction. In our study, we compared the clinical outcome and complications associated with interlock nailing and dynamic compression plating in a group of patients selected randomly in order to know which method of fixation of humeral shaft fracture is better one. So, these are the inclusion criteria. We included all the patients of humeral shaft fractures between the superior border of pectoralis major muscle attachment and an area immediately above the supracondylar ridge, who were indicated for surgical management. Exclusion criteria were patient treated with other modality fractures of upper and lower end of humerus, patients who were lost to follow up. Now, radiographic measurements, they included fracture alignment, time of healing, delayed union, non-union. Clinical outcome measurements included fracture healing, radial nerve recovery, infection, shoulder and elbow functions using American Shoulder and Elbow Surgeons score. Now, this shows the demographic profile of the patients. We had 17 patients in plating group, 16 in nailing group, and male were more in our series, because in India male are more exposed to the outdoor activities and injuries, and we had more fractures in the middle third of the humerus. We classified them according to the Yeo classification, and this shows the incision for antegrade interlocking nailing. Incision side is confirmed under image intensifier. Then minimal skin incision we used 2 centimeter, minimal damage to the rotator cuff. An opening was made with a curved awl. Only proximal 4 centimeter reaming of the medullary canal was done, and up to 10 mm diameter nail was put if required. And these are the prerequisites for better nailing, which we observed in our series. And here is a case of interlocking humeral nail done for the fracture of the sept of humerus. You can see the nicely healed fracture there and good function of the shoulder. This is another case of sept fracture, mid sept, treated with the interlocking nail, 40-year male patient. This is another 50-year-old patient, fracture in the proximal third, fixed with the intramedullary nail. You can see the good function, 18 months follow-up. Here is another patient, 40-year-old patient, fracture fixed with interlocking humeral nail. You can see the good function there. And this is another case which we treated by plating. You can see the fracture nicely healed there. Another patient, Bipin, managed with the plating technique. A lady treated with the plating for the fracture sept of the humerus. This is another patient where we had failure, and you can see varus malunion there and some deformity. Another case of plating, you can see there good results. This patient developed infection. You can see the raw area, superficial infection, which healed. Another patient, you can see here we did plating, but plating failed there. You can see another fracture. This patient had plating, but the fracture went into non-union because there was a discharging sinus and infection and non-union. So for this infection we had to remove the plate. So we removed the plate and then we applied a shoulder this plaster, we applied U-cast. You can see the middle picture. U-plaster cast was applied, antibiotics were given, and the fracture healed. The fracture healed without giving any other further internal fixation. You can see the nicely healed plaster in the plaster. When the patient came back us to after 6 weeks of removal of the plate, the fracture was already united, so no second surgery was required, and infection was also healed just by removing the plate. Now this was our result of both the groups. Compared, time of surgery in plating was about 77 minutes, nailing was little less, and this shows the other problems. Infection were more in the plating group. Delayed unions and non-unions were also more in the plating group in our series. Now the complications were more in the plating group, and locking nail were associated with less complications and less problems. Thank you for your kind attention.
Okay, thank you very much for your nice lecture. Any comments, any question to the lecturer, please? Nobody? Okay, please.
Have you had any problems with interlocking nailing in women? Because we find that the diameter of the humerus does not accommodate a 6.7 mm nail also. So you've had such problems in your series? That you started off with interlocking nailing, but you had to revert to plating.
Unfortunately, this problem is associated in patients where the medullary canal is very narrow. In our Indian patients, the bones are very porotic and the canal is already roomy. So that may be the reason. We never had any failure while doing interlocking nailing. We put the minimal size nail somewhere when required. Otherwise, there were no problem that we failed to put the nail. Though we keep both the systems ready, because this problem may occur theoretically, but we never had to go for change. But we also keep the set ready. If required, one can also change the procedure perioperatively and can plate. If the nail is not going, canal is very less.
You want to ask something? You didn't comment anything. Did you have any radial nerve damage following DCP or following reduction and intramedullary nailing? Did you have any nerve damage following?
No, we didn't have any nerve injury post-operatively. Pre-operatively, some patients were having nerve injuries which recovered in due course of the time, so probably they were neuropraxia. Pre-operation, they were already having injuries, but post-operatively, we never had iatrogenic nerve injury. I don't remember any permanent nerve damage done due to our surgery.
You didn't comment anything about shoulder problem following operation? Shoulder damage, shoulder problem following antegrade interlocking? You didn't?
Yeah, shoulder problems are associated with this nailing. In those cases in which the nail is little protruding out of the bone, if we put the nail well inside the bone, 1 millimeter or 2 millimeter, it is lying inside the bone, then the problems are not seen. Problems we are seen in 1 or 2 cases when the nail was little longer and it was protruding out of the humerus. So we have to put the smaller nail rather than a larger nail.
You mean shorter nail? Shorter nail.
Thank you.
Another question?
Hi, good morning. I'm Dr. Dunca from the Philippines. How often did you need to do bone grafting?
We do bone grafting only when patients come very late to us. Say if they come after 3 weeks or 4 weeks, then we have to do the bone grafting. Otherwise, in most of the fresh cases, we didn't do any bone graft. In plating, in 1 or 2 cases, we had to do bone grafting.
So you do it during the initial surgery?
During initial surgery. We do, if patient comes more than 3 weeks later to us, he presents, initially he has been treated with plaster and plaster failed, then we take bone grafts from the iliac crest and at the same time we put plate, we put some bone grafts around the fracture site.
Okay, excuse me, since we have a very similar lecture now coming about another lecture about interlocking nailing for humeral shaft fractures, I would advise, because of shorting of time, that we'll go on, and then if we have other questions for those lectures, we can go on. And I want to invite Mr. Hoda and Singh from India to give the lecture, the second lecture about interlocking nailing. for the humeral shaft. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, sir, thank you.